Hey everybody, this is Rob Szobski from Szobski Design. I'm coming to you live from the Buffalo Business and Banter podcast. I'll be speaking with local entrepreneurs to find out their mindsets, winning strategies, what makes them tick, and why they love our city. Today I have Dr. Richard Ziarkowski from Universal Chiropractic. Dr. Z, why don't you introduce yourself and...
Hi, thanks for having me here today, Rob. It's my first podcast, so we'll see how I do. But
Excellent.
I've been a chiropractor now for just about 23 years. I was born in Buffalo, 1974, so 48 years old. But I love being a chiropractor. It's a great profession, and it's just one of those things that kind of felt like I was always going to be a chiropractor as a kid, even at a young age. And when the time came to picking out a profession, I looked into it even more, and that's what got me here.
All right. Well, for anybody that doesn't know, we go way back. I was actually the director of marketing here at Universal for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Very thankful to say that this building here was a big deal to me. When we met, I was coming to South Buffalo Chiropractic. I didn't even know you had an office in West Seneca.
Yeah.
And, I hit it off with you. You ended up hiring me, bringing me on, and I helped build this place with you.
Yeah, no, it was great. I felt we had good synergy right off the get-go, and just talking to you that first time as a patient, and you told me what your background was. I was like, man, I could really use somebody like this in my practice, and you definitely helped me take it to the next level. So it was great.
Yeah. I mean, just coming in here now, I'm always happy driving by the place. Yeah. I mean, the signage, everything in here is beautiful. Yeah. And I haven't been in here in maybe 6 months, and I walk in, and you've rebuilt half the place again. Yeah. So tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I've always felt like I want the practice to grow, and succeed, and we're adding on new staff and more doctors and a new program, and we just needed some more space, so we kind of had to reconstruct some of the existing layout to add in some more tables and more rooms for another doctor.
Yeah, it looks great here.
Cool.
I want to know more about your background, really.
Sure. I was actually born on the east side of Buffalo. I actually went to St. Stan's, on the east side. That was on Wilson Street. That was where I was born and raised. And then we moved into Lackawanna when I was roughly about 10, 11 years old, and I graduated from Lackawanna High School. And then I went into New York Chiropractic College and graduated in 1998. It's always interesting, to when I talk about what got me into chiropractic. It's actually kind of funny. My grandmother would always tell me as a kid, she goes, "You're going to be a chiropractor when you get older," and and I would always laugh because I didn't even know what a chiropractor was. But my grandmother was in a severe car accident. And the doctors had told her she wouldn't be able to have her normal life, and a chiropractor actually got her back up and running. So maybe she saw something in me that she felt that I could help people out, and and that always kind of stuck with me. And then when it came time to
it's powerful,
figuring out what you wanted to do in life, I was like, well, let me kind of look into this chiropractic stuff. And I was in high school at the time, and I knew I wanted to get into some type of a hands-on type of therapy or medicine where I could actually help people, but I didn't want to sit behind a desk and write scripts all day. So I wanted to get more of a hands-on approach. So I was always kind of thinking, well, chiropractic's cool, maybe physical therapy, possibly even like sports medicine. And then I was in high school, and I took a ride out to New York Chiropractic College with my father and my uncle. And I remember we sat down for breakfast at McGee's Diner, and we were waiting for the tour at the chiropractic college. And we went in, and I was blown away. And it was one of those things where I don't know if you ever had an experience where you just know this is what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be at. And that was the first college I even stepped foot into, and I was like, I don't even need to look at another college. I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And
Yeah.
and I talked to the the academic advisor, and I was like, well, what do I need to do to get in here ASAP? And he's like, well, first of all, you got to graduate high school. And then he gave me a list of things I needed to do in undergrad, and I, got through that in 2 years and 2.5 years roughly, and I graduated from New York Chiropractic College at age 24. So
That's great.
So it was a chiropractic college. It was a unique experience. I always say it was the best days and the worst days of my life, because it was challenging, going into the the college and and studying at a younger age. I mean, I was 20 years old when I went into when I actually started the college, and a lot of the my friends at the college were 24, 25 years old, and so I was a young baby of the group, but it worked out pretty good because I graduated at a young age, and I luckily got involved with Dr. Anthony Amabile at South Buffalo Chiropractic. I think that's where we said you first saw me.
Yeah, that's actually, I never even got into chiropractic until I was 30, and I was training real hard. I was trying to get a job at Border Patrol, and I was running 5 miles every other day, sometimes every day, and I was cut. I was super fit, and then my hips, I was having some hip issues, and I was like, what's going on? And a friend of mine is a physical therapist, and he was like, oh, well, are you running on the same route? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on the street every day. He's like, well, there's a tiny bit of an incline on the streets to let the water run through. So if you're on the same route, you're pivoting wrong. Like you got to switch it up. And I was like, oh, so he recommended a chiropractor. I went in, and I wasn't feeling too good. I went in, I got adjusted, and just after my adjustment, after I took like 5 steps, I felt like $1 million. Like I could run like 12 miles, like just like that. Like everything felt loose, and I felt like I had a new set of legs. I felt so different. I was like, okay, and I was hooked. Yeah, I was hooked, and then we met. I finally came over to this office, or the old West Seneca office, not this office. Your first West Seneca office, and I saw all the different modalities and all your holistic approach, and that's another thing. We really hit it off because you like, is it naturopath? What? Yeah,
it's more of a holistic approach. We call it, and it's funny because, like, to be honest with you, at first, like, I really didn't even know much about the chiropractic profession before I even knew I wanted to be a chiropractor, and and I was just kind of like blown away by the things that were out there for doctors to help patients naturally without resorting to pain medication or surgery, and then the more and more you get into it, it's like, geez, I can even help patients with other things, just improving their overall quality of life. So it's been a great ride. I mean, it's like I wasn't anticipating it being as entailed as it is as a chiropractor, and I still, to this day, after 23 years, I feel like I'm just still scratching the surface. But I think that it's a unique profession because our success as a doctor, our success as a person, ultimately depends on how helpful and how many people we can help, and that's just a beautiful profession to be in. I mean, can you imagine just waking up every day feeling like, okay, well, I'm going to be able to help 50, 60 people today and get them on the right track, or keep them on the right track, and make a living out of that. So it's I've been doing this for, like I said, 23 years, and I've never really even felt like I worked, because it's fun and it's very rewarding. But don't get me wrong, we do have stressful encounters. There's insurance companies we have to deal with, and and some patients we can't help out. Some patients just don't respond to conservative care, and and us as doctors or chiropractors, we take that personally because that's one person that we couldn't have helped. But at the end of the day, it's been a great profession, and been blessed to however it gets put in my brain to be a chiropractor. Just blessed it ended up this way.
That's great, Doc. Yeah. So I guess walk us through your approach to patient care and
Sure.
treatment.
Yeah, the most important part is just sitting and listening to the patient and finding out like what the problem is, and to me that, that should come naturally, and that should be, the first priority. And patients have always told me that, man, you actually listen to me. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
But you'd be surprised, from what I hear, like a lot of doctors don't want to listen to their patients, but it's key. There may be something that they're going to say that's going to trigger something that in your mind it's like, okay, maybe we need to direct them this way or that way. But that initial consultation where we just sit and talk to the patient, to me is probably the most important part of determining what's going on with the patient. And once we have that history, then we do an exam. We'll do some range of motion, orthopedic tests, all that stuff to kind of validate, what we think is going on. And sometimes we need to send a patient for X-rays or MRIs, but for the most part, we're able to determine what's going on through that exam and consultation, and basically start treating that patient right away.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's another thing, is everything here is always so cutting edge.
yeah, and that's I've always was told as a kid, just do your best. That's something my mother always instilled in me. She was like, she didn't really care what my grades were. She didn't really care too much of anything other than the fact that she always wanted me to do my best. And that's why I took this profession. I'm like, you know what? Let's grab the bull by the horns. Let's do our best that we can in this profession. And as years went on, I was like, man, well, what else can I do other than just regular hands-on manual adjustments? And and then I just once I realized that, okay, I want to start incorporating these new technologies and new therapies into the practice, the doors opened wide open for me, and ultimately led to the success that we have. We do the traditional chiropractic adjustments still. I have a lot of faith and a lot of value in them, but we use everything from adjusting tools to cold laser, spinal decompression. They even have advanced massage techniques out there, and so it's amazing what is accessible to us as doctors these days, as chiropractors, that we can incorporate into the practice. But the key is how do you incorporate it into the practice where you can make it accessible to everybody.
Right.
There's therapies out there that are even a little bit more advanced than some of the things that I have, but sometimes when they come out to the market, they're $100,000 pieces of equipment, and
Right.
even higher. You'd be amazed. And the issue with that is, you incorporate this high end equipment into your practice. You got to charge patients a lot of money to offset the cost of it. So what I've really focused on over the years is, what type of equipment, what type of therapy is cutting edge, but doesn't cost a fortune. So I've always felt like I want to keep everything affordable here. I'd rather help 100 patients in a day versus 5 patients in a day.
Right.
And, that's just the kind of the way that I'm wired, and that's how the doctors here feel. The other doctors in the practice, they have the same concept and same belief. So we look for different therapies and modalities that we can keep affordable for the patients, and patients sometimes come in very surprised on how affordable things are. But that's I feel the success of the practice, because like I said before, the more people we can help, ultimately the
Right.
better you do as a businessman. And sometimes there's 2 hats that you have to wear in this profession. The one hat is, as a doctor, you want to help everybody that comes in through the door. The other side of the coin is you got to run a business. There's
Right.
doctors, there's staff, there's overhead. So you kind of have to find that balance, and that's probably been the biggest struggle over the years. But with that concept, you figure out what works best over time.
What do you think's working good for you these days?
These days,
these days.
the spinal decompression and keeping it affordable. As chiropractors, patients relate us to back pain. That's the number one thing that people think of. Well, you got neck or back pain, go see a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. Most of the patients that come in, through our door have bulging or herniated discs, and with the chiropractic adjustments, sometimes that can alleviate it and get the patients on the right track. But I feel like by incorporating the decompression with the adjustments, you're actually looking at correcting the condition to at another level. And I don't want to take away any value from, a chiropractic adjustment. If I had one tool and only one tool or one thing that I can do on a patient, I would adjust them. But I feel that the decompression in conjunction with the adjustment is going to take it to another level. And that's come through years of practice too. I switched my philosophy a little bit over the years, thinking that maybe patients just need decompression or just need adjustments, and keeping treatment plans separate. But we've kind of, a lot with all the hands-on practice that we've had over the years with the patients, felt combining the two is ultimately the key to their success, and that's currently what we're doing now. We're delivering chiropractic adjustments and delivering spinal decompression at an affordable rate after the adjustments, and patients are doing great with it.
That's good. All right, everybody, quick commercial break. I'd like to thank our sponsors, which are myself. So big thanks to Szobski Design. For any of you that don't know, that is my marketing agency. We offer marketing consultations, videography, photography, copywriting, and any professional guidance you might need for your business. I'd also like to give a big shout out to Lit 716. We have a new e-commerce store with Buffalo merchandise, t-shirts, mugs, you name it, we got it. Go check that out at lit716.com. Let's get into marketing. So,
Sure.
How do you keep
Yeah,
company brand? People. First of all, people coming in the door.
Right.
What are some of the tricks of the trade here?
Well, it's there's been a lot of growth over the years, in trial and error, and having you as for help. That was great. Taking us to another level. When we go into chiropractic college and we graduate, we're doctors. They don't teach you business. They don't teach you marketing. Right. So a lot of this stuff you kind of have to pick up on your own. In trying to run a business and maintain a patient base, it's like, well, how much time can I personally put into marketing on my own? And but luckily, we have talented people like you to help us along, and
thank you, Doc.
And keep that marketing, that cutting edge in the marketing industry going. One of the things that I've seen over the years, we've always took pride in word of mouth referrals. So for it's been 23 years in practice, I would say for the first half of my practice, if not more, that's all we did, word of mouth referrals. We didn't really have to get into the marketing too much, other than maybe establishing a brand. Okay. Right. But it's been very competitive out there. You got a lot. I'm not computer savvy or marketing savvy, but you got a lot of these younger chiropractors that graduate and they have some type of marketing background or advertising background, or they know people that do, and you post some ads on Facebook, and all of a sudden patients are going to go to those ads, and I'm like, man, maybe I need to work on that a little bit. So we got into doing the digital marketing in conjunction with the word of mouth advertising, and it's just taking it to a whole nother level.
Well, we've done a little bit of everything.
Yes.
TV.
Yep. Radio. Right.
Social media.
But you hit the nail on the head. You want to have your brand established, and you want to keep the same message. The Universal Chiropractic logo, the color scheme, that's been the same right since the beginning. We've had a couple little changes overall, but the message has always been the same. And the message is, we want to deliver highly effective, therapy, and we want to, chiropractic adjustments, therapy, treatments, whatever the patient's looking for, but we want to keep it affordable. And that's literally been my message ever since I've been out on my own, and
keep it simple,
and it's worked out great. So that's kind of our concept. Doing well with it.
That's good, Doc.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, whenever, like I said before, whenever I drive by, I think your location is perfect as well. Yeah. You got the perfect location here. Actually, that's where we're filming right now, 1900 Ridge Road, Seneca Plaza.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful signage I designed outside.
Yeah.
Lit up right now. I mean, everybody sees it going by here.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely helps.
You don't miss it. So I think that is a huge one right there.
Yeah.
Just visual recognition itself is a help.
Yeah.
Big
Yep,
time.
Yep. That was big, and the beauty of having you on board is you're able to keep our image right with the signage outside, so people will see the signage outside, and they get a sense of what we're all about before they even walk in the door, and it's all the same.
Seriously, every time I drive by, I'm like, it puts a smile on my face because I'm like, oh, I designed all of that. Look how great that looks.
Yeah.
We see people in here. It's nice and busy. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we've had challenges, over the years, COVID,
Right.
that was a big challenge for us.
How did you handle that, and how did you get through?
Yeah,
the COVID?
that was tough. When your patient volume is dropped 80% in a week, and you still have your overhead and your bills, you have to get creative and figure out what you can do to pay the bills, until the volume picks back up. And a situation like that, there's nothing we can really do in trying to get the patients in, but we really focused on, being more efficient, more effective. And I think that actually helped us build a little bit more of a stronger relationship with our patients, and actually helped the practice grow once COVID, the fear of COVID and everything was gone. So.
Yeah, well, I imagine there's a lot of people that were skeptical of coming in here,
Right.
that really needed help too.
Right. Right.
And they're staying home when they really need
Some care.
some healing.
Yeah, one of the things that helped us out is actually New York State allowed us to practice, but it was emergency care situations.
Right.
There were certain states where doctors couldn't even practice; the doors were closed. So at least we were lucky enough to work on patients that were in severe pain, and we could make an exception or documentation as to why they needed to be treated during the pandemic.
Right.
So, but that was an interesting ride. So,
Yeah.
and then the other struggle too is after COVID, it was tough to get employees. You talk to a lot of small business people, and you see when you see billboards we're hiring. Yeah, I was like, it was a struggle building a staff. Right after COVID, so that was another major struggle. We're lucky now, we're blessed now. We have a great staff, but my office managers, they worked their tail off to build the staff back up, and we're full throttle now. But it's been a lot of work, and then we had some struggles. Building this, getting this staff to where we needed it to be. And when I don't want to sound like I'm a perfectionist, but there's a certain standard of care that I deliver, but there's a certain standard of quality of service that you deliver. Right. And when you have one staff member taking on the job of three, sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. So I've been blessed to really have workers that rolled up their sleeves, and they understood the struggles that we were going through being short-staffed, and kind of explained to them there's going to be a light at the tunnel. Let's just kind of work through it. And right now I would say this has probably been the first time since pre-COVID that we are actually fully staffed. So
that's great.
Yeah, but it was that those were the two main struggles that I would say I've had over the years in practice. But at the end of the day, you just have to stay focused on what the big picture is, and go back to what your core principles are, and have faith that things are going to develop the way that you anticipate them to.
That was a great answer, Doc. Let's discuss future plans and
Sure.
growth expansion, because
Yeah.
I know you're always looking to grow.
Always looking to grow. We just brought on another doctor, Dr. Peter McCarty. He's doing great. He's the newest addition to the team. We're always looking for doctors, that have a certain passion to help people, and that's the key ingredient to building a successful practice when there's multiple doctors, because you can't do everything yourself as a doctor. If you want to continue to grow, you have to bring in other doctors, and the doctors I have in the office, they all fit a certain set of standards that I feel confident with, that it's going to mirror my set of standards. And once you start getting more doctors and the practice, with that type of energy and that type of sense that they want to help people, the practice is going to continue to grow. And with our new concept of bringing on, the decompression in conjunction with the adjustments and keeping them affordable, I feel that we're even going to grow at a faster rate. So we're ready for it.
I'm sure you'll do great, Doc.
Thanks.
All right, so let me pause real quick. All right, Doc. So let's get into the nitty gritty here.
Sure.
Let's say we got some new chiropractors just got out of chiropractic school.
Yeah.
What are some tips and some advice that you would give them just coming out of school, and they're coming out guns blazing and they want to take over the world?
Yeah. You know, the most important thing, the key ingredient is have passion for what you're doing. You know, for me, I think that was the foundation. You know, from day one, I just, you know, couldn't express it more how much I wanted to help people and just roll up my sleeves and dive into this profession. And if you have to have that passion, if you don't have that passion, unfortunately the success isn't going to be there. Right. But once you have that passion, I think the next step is to take it to another level, because you can only do so much on your own, is build up a good team. You know, when I talk about a good team, sure, we're talking about your staff members, maybe other doctors, assistants, but even like what I would suggest is finding a good attorney. You find a good accountant. You find a good controller. You know, you find a good marketing person. You know, you find good friends that you can bounce ideas off of, even if they're not in the chiropractic profession. But right. I could call up somebody right now and they'll pick up the phone, you know, within minutes, and I could bounce an idea or a question off of them, and they'll be more than happy to help me. So that's the key, I think, to ultimately you're building your success that you're aiming for, is to have a really solid team and a group of people around you. And I don't know how it happened, but I have it. You know, so I don't know what the key ingredient is to building that team. If I had to say it, you know, what would probably make the most sense is, you know, giving back too. You know, if you know you want, you know, help from people, you know, maybe help people out too in a little way. You know, so right. I've always felt like, you know, my friends are almost like part of my family, and my team is almost part of my family, and I would do anything for them, and I think they get a sense of that, and you get that back. So it's not just building that team, picking people out of a hat. You have to have, you know, compassion and you know, and try to maybe even help some other people out in a way. You know, if I have a friend or a colleague or somebody that has issues, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I wish I could help you. You know, how can I help you? So it's a two-way street.
Right.
Know? So, but the essentials are, first, you have to have the passion for what you're doing, building the team, and depending what profession you're in, you know, if you're running your own business, no matter what it is, you just have to roll up your sleeves. One thing you can never really do is count how many hours you work in a week. Yeah, right. I've never done that in 23 years. I've never sat down and added up, you know, my weekly hours. It's just, I don't know if I want to be honest with you. But if you don't mind that type of work and energy you're going to put into your practice, you know, you can be successful at anything you want, at anything you do. It takes a lot of work, though.
That's a fantastic answer, Doc. Yeah. That was amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, but that would be the biggest advice I would give to anybody, you know, starting any type of profession or any type of you know, job or, you know, shop that they wanted to open up on their own. But if anything else comes to mind, I'll let you know. Just call me up.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's get into Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
This is a section where I should have more questions for you, but I don't. So I'm going to just basically say, where do you like what are your hot spots?
Sure.
Where do you like to go when you want to have fun? Where do you like to go when you want to relax and just chill out? Like what grounds you in Buffalo, and why do you love it here?
Yeah. The reason why I love Buffalo is it's you know, you probably heard this before. It's the big city, but it's got the close city feel to it. You know, everybody knows everybody to some extent. You know, so I like the sense that, you know, we're one community working together. To me, that's why I like Buffalo, and I'll never, you know, leave this area, is because you know, it's Buffalo's one big family. And you go to certain cities and you hear people from other cities and they don't have that sense. You know, so Buffalo is the big city with that small city feel to it, and to me that's a priority. I've always liked that, and I've never had the urge to get up and leave the state or leave Western New York. I do have to admit I did move out to the country, but Buffalo will always be my home. You know, it's been my lifelong dream is to get some land and build
You gonna get some chickens, Doc?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm right in the heart of the Amish country, so if I need a chicken, I can just walk up the road, and I'm sure they'll lend me one or two. But that's the main thing with Buffalo. The other thing is I'm a big sports fan. I've been a Bills fan since the early '80s, and it's just been part of me growing up as a kid, and it's still part of my life now.
Where are you going tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I am actually going to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, and that's been a tradition that a group of friends of us, started. I think it's been 23 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So we go to Las Vegas every Super Bowl weekend.
I didn't realize you've been going that long.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So and it's fun because a lot of times you get busy with life, and certain people you don't get to see that often. So it's always a tradition. To get together Super Bowl weekend and go out and blow off some steam and have some fun and get back to reality on
maybe next
Tuesday
year
morning.
You'll see our team there.
Well, that was the big dilemma. I wanted to book to Vegas, but I'm like, man, if Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl, I think I'm going to go to I think it's in Arizona. Yeah, I would have gone to Arizona, but next year, ironically enough, it is in Vegas. So maybe that's what the Bills have been waiting for me for the last 23 years is to meet up with me when I go to do my Super Bowl trip.
Yeah.
But we will see. But I never get discouraged with the Bills. I'm just grateful we have a team that can compete. Come December, years in the past, you how many times can you look back and be like, well, what kind of draft pick we're going to have because we had such a bad season. Right now, it's like, well, where are we going to fall in the playoffs? And it's such an exciting time as a Bills fan. I know we get people get disappointed when they lose in the playoffs and they get eliminated. But I always look back to. Geez, we're the years where we didn't even have a quarterback and throw a touchdown pass.
I them in there with a chance to win.
Yeah. So that's the other thing I like about Buffalo are the sports. Restaurants. I like to try different places. I can't say I have a certain restaurant that I go to all the time. I like to venture out and try different places. I'd hate to just name one or two of them because then there might be a couple restaurants that I might think of later, and I don't want to leave them out. But I personally like the restaurants that have been around for a long period of time, and you walk into it and you have that family sense to it. So I don't want to throw any names out there because I don't want to leave anybody out. But again, that's another great thing about Western New York and the Buffalo area is if you want to go to a good restaurant or a good bar, there's a limited amount of them in the area. But sports, restaurants, bars, the close-knit community feel, I think that's probably like the foundation of why I like Buffalo as much as I do. I'm not going to talk about the weather, but I do like the change of seasons. But winters can be a little, tasking over.
Yeah.
But other than that, we have great summers, we have great spring. The falls are amazing around here. Well, like I said, we won't get too much and talk about the winter, but the overall, weather of the Buffalo area, I like that diversity. I like
to
always
go to Vegas,
Right.
It's too cold. You can always go to Vegas.
I like to try to plan my vacations in February so I can get away for a couple weeks, break the winter up a little bit. So that's kind of how I cope with that at least. But
that's the way to do it for sure.
Right. But I'll take this climate over, a steady hot or a steady cold or dry climate any day of the week.
Yeah, so me too, Doc.
Yeah,
absolutely. One last question before we wrap it up. If you had one choice of a superpower, what would it be?
To heal people more.
Oh, great answer.
That's the
Doc.
first thing that came
I
to
need an
mind.
applause button on that one.
Yeah, my job would be a lot easier if I could just put my hands on people and fix them automatically. So that that I always strive to get people feeling better and fixed as fast and as efficient I can. But if I had a superpower that was like you could put your hands on people and get them out of pain and get them fixed, that would be above and beyond my first
We're
choice.
coming close, Doc, because
Yeah.
I feel amazing in here. This,
All right.
this is my favorite place to be,
Cool.
honestly.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, before we totally wrap up,
Yeah.
you got to tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, sure. We have 2 locations. Our main location is in West Seneca, 1900 Ridge Road. I'm looking right out the window. You can look at Home Depot. Home Depot's right across the street. We're in the Seneca Square Plaza. We're in the end cap there. And our office in South Buffalo is on 1979 Seneca Street. That's kind of right in the heart of South Buffalo. If you're
Yes, it
familiar with
is.
St. Teresa's Church, or right across the street from St. Teresa's Church, right next to the Tops grocery store.
Yeah, that's where I went to grammar school, right there.
So we have the 2 offices, and maybe next time you have me, we'll be talking about a third.
Yeah, that'd be
So-
great.
So
All right, Doc. It was great seeing you.
Yeah.
It's always a great time talking to you. I'm glad we got to connect, and I'm glad that you came on and
sure,
had a great time.
cool. All right.
All right, everybody. That's all we got for Buffalo Business and Banter. Remember, this is powered by Lit 716, coming to you bi-weekly. I will see you soon. Tune in.